So Halloween is just one night a year, but if there is any system that deserves to be resurrected for the occasion, it's the Sega Dreamcast. The system's support was truly severed before its time. It was buried, kicking and screaming. But on a night like this, it might be the perfect time to boot it up, take off the shackles, and listen to it howl. One game I've wanted to check out for a really long time is Zombie Revenge. It sounds pretty generic, but it's actually a spin-off of one of Sega's most prestigious horror franchises, The House of the Dead. Sega managed to bring some of the worst B-movie dialogue, weak plots and outrageous enemies to the arcades and home consoles. And it is a hell of a lot of fun, especially the first three. I can't say that Zombie Revenge can carry that prestigious crown, but what Sega managed to do was make a zombie game that broke free of its chains and managed to stand on its own 2 feet. So I actually picked up the Japanese version of this game. It was a hell of a lot cheaper, and there's one super special option in the menus that will make this game a lot more fun for the casual gamer. Thankfully, the cutscenes and text are in English.
Stupid humans. It's time to put an end to this. By dawn, the god of destruction will be unleashed.
Because it really doesn't matter anymore how grisly and outdated the rest of the game is. These cutscenes alone keep the story moving along amazingly in a very forced, charming B-grade movie way, with plenty of spectacle and not much substance. So the plot feels like it's just there for a bit of fun. Just another reason to beat up some zombies. But seriously, when is the last time you booted up a beat 'em up game? Just because you love the story and the character development. At least here, you'll be developing those undead zombies into actual dead ones. And with Sega releasing the game for US and Europe as well, there should be no reason why you can't find a version to play. Unless you don't have a Dreamcast, or access to an arcade cabinet. So for fans of the original House of the Dead game, there's some nods to those classic games that you played, and hopefully loved, with a visit to Curien Mansion and some familiar decaying faces. So for fans of horror, and even just movies in general, this game is giving nods off everywhere. From classic cliches to enemies clearly inspired by other franchises, there's this lack of restraint. The game is totally in on the joke, and you're having way too much fun to care. There's a bunch of awesome weapons you can find, making it easy to lay down some awesome carnage, and each character has their own move list. I was actually a little bit surprised by the depth in this fighting system and the mess you can make. It's still mostly a repetitive beat 'em up, but these little flourishes give it a bit more replay value. Some cool moves, destructive set of weapons, and even the zombies in this game are packing heat. I was really sucked in by the whole atmosphere of it. Sega have never been afraid to have a little bit of fun with their House of the Dead series, and a lot of that charm has really carried through to Zombie Revenge. It isn't all gleaming zombie smashing goodness though. In House of the Dead, even in just the first one, there were alternative pathways and shortcuts. Outside a handful of hidden rooms I found, you're pretty much stuck fighting through the same route every time. For an arcade game, it does feel a bit lazy. If you don't have a friend to play through with, the arcade mode is really going to start wearing thin.
The control scheme doesn't really help that either. They're certainly not the smoothest or most refined. The first time playing through might be the hardest. But this is just another aspect where I think the Japanese version totally trumps any of the other releases. If you're playing through with unlimited continues, dying due to poor controls will affect your score, slow you down, and it's a bit frustrating. But just because you miss a button or you don't turn quick enough or the run button doesn't work, you're not dying and going back to the start of the game. But as a port from the arcade title, it certainly matches up to the original in most other respects. But that didn't stop Sega rounding it out with a bunch of different modes that you can play exclusively at home. Fighting mode, where you can fight a friend or the computer. Boss verse mode, which is essentially just a boss rush.
So to stand a better chance in fighting mode, you can actually download the characters onto your VMU. Feed them food that you've collected from the game, and train them with the included minigames. What amazes me is that for pretty much an arcade game, there are so many pieces to Zombie Revenge, so many console exclusives. Man, what's the best way to talk about this? Actually, so the main meat of it is obviously here in the arcade conversion, but then you've got all the console exclusives. You've got burst mode, you've got boss rush mode, and of course, the VMU minigame.
The VMU is a pretty amazing little device, and obviously its main function is a memory card, but with a built-in screen, 8-bit processor, its own speaker and control inputs. This thing was actually designed for smallish great things, and thankfully, Zombie Revenge is a game that lets you train for the zombie apocalypse on the go. To stand a better chance in the fighting mode, you can actually download the Zombie Revenge Raising game onto your VMU through the training room. Pick one of the characters to train, feed them the food that you've collected from the game, and train them with the other included minigames.
Minigames like zombie fishing actually felt unique enough that, yeah, I am going to bring my VMU to life just to play this game every so often. But on the other hand, I'd love a chance to play these minigames at any time, regardless if the character is tired, hungry, or exhausted. Luckily, if you love quirky little games, Sega had another crack at a House of the Dead spin-off with Pinball of the Dead.
I love the way it fits so well beside these minigames they were making for the VMU. And when it comes to the House of the Dead series in general, Sega knew how to have some fun and create a unique, stylish zombie experience that translated really well into a pinball game where you smash the undead with a metal ball.
So Zombie Revenge is a really awesome 3D beat 'em up, but by its very nature, it's repetitious, gets a bit boring, and it feels a bit outdated. But the B-movie vibe sets up a really awesome atmosphere for it, so I had a lot of fun. And all those extra gameplay modes actually make it feel like it's worth owning at home. So dudes, invite some friends over, make some new ones if you have to, out of the bits lying around. And if the beat 'em up portion gets too boring, there's enough other gameplay modes here to keep you entertained for at least an evening. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you have a holly jolly October, a super merry November, and hopefully I'll see you guys soon, providing Mum doesn't find this and ground me forever. If she does. Sorry, Mum. So, woo! Second Halloween episode in the bag, and that's actually it for me for this year. My Halloween is like literally all done online. I don't celebrate it any other way. So I really appreciate you guys watching the episodes, tuning in. Even you guys who are making episodes, you know, let me know in the comments if I'm not subscribed to you yet, because I've got a real soft spot for Halloween episodes. And yeah, I'd love to check out some more. I love, you know, you guys that I am actually subscribed to watching your episodes as well. Like, that's my Halloween. So as always, a massive thanks to Kenny and Harlan Watton. They've done all the music for the Leftover Culture Review this year, and their Halloween tracks for my 2 Halloween episodes have been amazing. So you can check them out in the description. I'll have a link up on the screen. Go check out their music if you want. And yeah, as always, a massive thanks to the Punk Effect and the Atari Times. I do a lot of my research for the Atari Lynx and Jaguar through there. So only 2 episodes this Halloween. Last year I did 4. I've done a blog post with those episodes, plus like a few toy reviews and stuff and a few pictures. But you can find that on the website at this link. For this Halloween, I've also done another post with some more video, with the last video and a few links. I've recently reviewed the Resident Evil Toy Biz 1998 action figures, so that's on my website if you want to go check it out. If you want to see more, follow the link, pretty much. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, and then subscribe, or if you haven't already.